Good morning, welcome to TERRA at Home. I'm here with Colleen from TERRA, and we love talking all these wonderful spring things to do and getting our gardens going. And so this is one of many segments we're talking about right now. But we're talking about perennials today. And again, some of them have been sleeping.
Yes, perennials on a different aspect in that planting them in containers.
Sure, exactly. Right, so let's talk about that. And where should we begin? So if we talk about this guy who's been wintered and sleeping.
Yes. This is a hosta that I've had for I don't know how many years, probably 8-9 years in the same pot. So it is due for a little bit of a separation because it's quite full. But this is what it'll look like. Like after it gets hit with frost, you put it away for the winter, and then you just give it a haircut. So you cut all this stuff off and it'll look like this, and then water it, give it a good shot of some starter fertilizer, and then it'll get growing. Okay. So that's kind of what it looks like this time of year.
Right, exactly. Okay. And then as you're saying, you know, separating them, that's the great thing about hostas, is that you can then just keep breaking them apart and, you know.
Yes,
especially like for your own garden, if you want to kind of, you're looking at your garden, you want to make some changes and you have this, you can do some interesting things. But again, if you're keeping them in a container, just separate them and give them a little bit more room.
Yeah, everybody doesn't have a huge garden, so and sometimes I run out of time. So throwing something in a pot, or if you want to feature something, putting it in a pot is a great idea, because then you can look at it all the time, especially if it's something a little bit more prized possession, kind of like specialty, then by putting it in a pot you can look at it more frequently.
It's true though, you're right, and as you say, so many people, very few people have a lot of room these days with but they want to still have that feel of having a garden, and there is something about putting it in a really nice pot, all of a sudden it changes its appeal.
Definitely.
You know, like I love looking over here at the boxwood, as you said, putting a boxwood in a pot, all of a sudden it's a big feature.
Yes, it can be as simple as just plopping a boxwood in a pot, and things that are hardy, something like a boxwood, some of the evergreens do really well just leaving them on your porch all year round.
Easy to take care of, right?
Yeah, and the boxwood being evergreen at Christmas time, put a few little lights on it and you're good to go.
Yeah, that's actually an all year round awesome one to have.
Exactly.
Right? And it looks really nice. There's something very clean and modern about it too that people really enjoy. So okay, so we're going to
let's not look at this one anymore.
Yeah, we're gonna move on with that guy. And we are going to talk about
there are lots of different types of plants to consider, but it's also important to consider the pots that you're going to use.
Yes.
So things that, like the boxwood, if you're going to leave them out year round, you need something that is frost resistant or something like that's plastic. This one is a good one here that's got kind of the woven look to it.
It's nice.
It also has a plastic liner, so it's not going to, smash in the wintertime with the freezing and the thawing. That's the biggest thing that kills things if you're going to have them in a container is the freeze and thaw over the winter.
It's funny, I actually was just going through some of my pots yesterday that ended up cracking because of that. Literally yesterday in my garage, so that's what happens.
Yes, ceramic pots are great, and especially for perennials, they're fine because usually you'll bring in your perennials over the winter. Right. So then that will protect the pots. Some of the thicker, there are frost-resistant ceramic pots that are good. Key with that is to make sure that they are kind of vase-shaped, like this one here is. It's a little bit hidden.
This guy?
But that allows, once things freeze, the soil can go straight up. So it's not going to expand this way. It kind of has some space to go.
Oh, okay. All right.
And the other key is to make sure that it's up off your patio so that it can drain properly and it's not going to freeze to your patio and break the bottom off.
Okay. Very smart. Good tips. Okay.
So today we're going to use one of these ones here, and the nice thing about this is that it has a removable liner, so you don't have to get this one all muddy while you're doing it.
Yeah, that's like, because then you have to end up hosing that one down if you didn't have that.
Exactly,
right? So this
exactly.
Is great. Okay.
And these are a plethora of plants that can be used for some early summer color. Perennials, you don't always have to count on the flower color in perennials because perennials are a very dynamic thing. So they change all the time. Okay. Whether it's through flower or this one here, it does have a flower, which is a little bit different in that it's not like really brightly colored, but it's more green. Okay. So this one here has variegated leaves.
And that's the thing, again, as you said, it's not just about the color, it's about the different textures.
Exactly.
Right, and different tones, and that's where you're getting a lot of variety.
And it's not to say that you don't have to have all perennials in a container too. By putting in some annuals, like, a favorite Gerber daisy.
I love them too.
That will give you some consistent color all summer long as well. Now, when you overwinter it, the Gerber will not last the winter. That said, that'll give you room that you can change it up from year to year.
Sure.
And then this one here it's called, it's a sweet tart heuchera.
Oh.
So it's a dwarf heuchera. So when you're planting in containers, it's a good idea to find things that are going to be smaller.
Yes, good.
So
You
that
can see how tiny the leaves are on this
yeah,
one.
yeah. So it only gets to be about like a foot by a foot tops.
Oh, perfect.
So you can put that in there.
So again, you're getting height variations as well,
yeah.
right?
So you have like some height in here. You have some larger leaves, some bigger flowers, and then something else that works really well in containers are sedums.
Oh yes, I like that one.
So this
That's
one's a new
nice.
one. It's called firecracker.
Oh, cool.
And it's a ground cover sedum. So this one will trail out the edge of the pot.
Perfect. Trailers always look good.
And because we're planting this earlier in the season, I'm not planting it as full as I would if it was later on in the season,
Okay.
because you do have all season for things to
Right.
expand. So
You
you want to
need-
leave a little bit of space.
And that's right. And this is, as you say, much earlier in the season. So
And the other thing that
nice.
you have to think about too is accessorizing, just like you'd accessorize an outfit.
yes, you see a lot more of that
Yep.
these days, right?
So you want to, we'll put this back
So
in the pot
already,
here.
look how nice that looks.
There you
Just
go.
being Put in there.
So to give a little extra color, you can add some colorful twigs.
That's the thing. We often do that so much with our winter urns,
Exactly.
our Christmas urns, and that. But then why not do it with the spring and summer ones?
Mm-hmm.
It looks fantastic.
And then other little things that you can use too, like this is just a blown glass ball
I love that.
that you can just pop in there, so
Oh,
it gives
that's
a little pop
awesome.
of color. Other things, like any of the picks that you have, even a little hummingbird feeder.
Oh, come on.
So it's
that's
like a little
great.
container hummingbird feeder.
Yes.
So then you can have them right up close,
Right.
even if you have a patio or
I was
this
just
is on
going
your
to say,
deck,
if you just
balcony.
have only a balcony or a small little patio, then you're creating a great little garden. It's amazing how good this makes you feel just looking at something as simple as this, just a little
Exactly.
self-contained unit. But look at how pretty that is. That makes you look like the professional in your neighborhood by adding, and we have a lot of these different types of things here.
Yes,
right?
definitely, yeah.
Lots of
And there's different types of, like you can think of a ton of different types of plants. Pretty much any perennial will work in containers. Grasses are particularly nice.
Yes.
Especially if you get like a good chunky, like a large grass. This is
I
a
like these
carex
too.
variety here that has a really cool texture, and it's got kind of like that burnt umber kind of color
that's
to it.
awesome.
That will stay like that all summer long. Grasses are great because they're low water consumption, give you height, give you fullness. Put a bunch of those in a window box, and you can get privacy as well.
It's true.
So-
Very quickly, as you say.
Exactly.
That's a quick way to get fullness and privacy.
Yeah.
Rather than waiting for your cedars to grow.
Yes.
That's years. But again, you really just think outside the box, right? And really look
Yep.
at some of the options and textures, and these are beautiful here too.
Those are little Japanese painted ferns, so know your light levels as well. Those are good for a shady spot.
Right.
And other
point.
things that do well in the shade, I have tons of hostas, like just a single hosta in a planter.
Right.
You can also do some of the dwarf hydrangeas,
Oh yes.
like those work in there. So you can mix up your perennials and your nursery and your annuals.
And your annuals.
So
Don't
the
be afraid to do that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Good tips. And again, of course, you can always ask you guys here if you know your stuff, and you can make things look so beautiful. And don't be afraid, as you say, to fill your containers. But this time of year, obviously, you want to give some room to grow, but
Exactly.
you want it to look full. And we have such a short season, so enjoy it. But thank you so. Good tips.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for now. We'll have more Terra at Home to come.
Live color fully at Terra, where color lives.
Heritage Perennials. Look for us in the blue pots.
Good morning, welcome back to Terra at Home. I'm here at the Serendipity Tea House in downtown Burlington, and we're here with Ruby. And I love being here right now, I have to tell you, because I love high tea or afternoon tea. And so this is a perfect place for me, anyway. You might have to kick me out, actually, at some point, but I love it. And you guys have done a very nice job of presentation. So people have a certain expectation if they've been to having an afternoon tea before, and if you've never been, we're going to go through some of the maybe some of the little rules that apply,
That's
right?
right,
So let's talk a little bit about maybe when we first come into our the room and we sit down, what should we be doing?
Well, the first thing we do when we come into an afternoon tea would be to take your napkin and fold it into your lap.
Okay.
So we're not tucking it into our collars.
Yeah, we're not hanging out.
No.
That's past a night.
Yeah. So we gently fold it into our laps, and you know, once your food and your tea is here, ideally you'd want to steep your tea for 3 to 5 minutes. It depends on the type of tea that you have,
Okay.
and it also depends on personal preference as well.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So when choosing tea, you have a tea menu,
That's right.
and that's something that people will start out with. And you have a variety of teas, from whites to greens. So tell me a little bit about some of the varieties we have on our table.
Yeah, so at our tea house we serve a variety. For instance, here we have a white tea, and white tea is actually the least processed of all the teas. So as you can see, the leaves are a little bit longer and not tightly curled. It's also less in caffeine, very light, almost a woody flavor to it.
Okay.
Yeah, and the next one that people are often more familiar with is a green tea, which we serve here. We have a few different varieties of green tea. You know, it's known for its great health benefits as well.
That's a great thing about these teas as well.
Yeah.
Is they come in all different flavors too. So.
Yeah, that's right. And a lot of people like, we have one, our most popular is actually vanilla bean cupcake.
I saw that on your menu.
Yeah, so it's a big hit, especially with the youngsters.
I can just imagine.
So this one here, it's an interesting shape. It's an oolong tea, which is somewhere between a green and a black tea, so it's partially oxidized.
Okay.
We also serve a variety of black teas. That seems to be the most popular, so that would be that one right there.
Okay.
It's a great morning tea. People enjoy it with milk and sugar.
Because you're getting a hit of caffeine from
That's
this one.
right. It has the most caffeine in it, so
Okay.
and so they tend to be popular. And we also have a variety of herbal teas. So these two are both herbal teas. We
Okay.
have a rooibos,
Right.
and this one is a chamomile, but we do offer different varieties as well.
And so again, these would be caffeine free for
That's
someone who
right.
just wants a nice, relaxing afternoon.
That's right.
And be able to
yeah.
sleep at night.
Exactly.
Wonderful. So once you've chosen your tea, as you say, you allow it to steep. And we've had our tea steeping here enough time, I think, right?
Yeah.
So we have, again, it's loose leaf tea. So this is loose in here. So you don't want to just be pouring that directly in there, do you?
No, you don't. So like I said before, you let it steep for 3 to 5 minutes. We have a tea strainer here that we use to strain our tea. So as per proper etiquette, I would be pouring your tea for you.
Okay.
Of course, nowadays everybody pours their own.
They want to be in charge of their own drinks.
Yeah. So I'd put my strainer on, and this is already steeped. So you just pour it out like this so that the tea strainer will catch the tea leaves as the tea pours into your cup.
Wonderful.
There you are, and remove that there. Now, as per proper etiquette, back when the afternoon tea tradition started, people would put the milk in first.
Yes.
Yeah, that was to save the china, actually, more than anything else.
So it wouldn't stain?
No, so it wouldn't crack, because the china was so delicate.
It would allow, okay.
Yeah, but now, and my recommendation is usually to pour the tea first. That way you get its true essence and its true flavor, and you get to see the color of it.
And then you know how much you need to add at that point.
That's right. So you can add your milk and your sugar afterwards.
Now we have our tea, and we've talked about the tradition of afternoon tea, but where exactly does the tradition come from?
It actually started in the early 19th century, and with a duchess in England, the Duchess of Bedford actually. And how it came about was she would often feel hunger pangs somewhere in between lunch and dinner.
Don't we all?
And at that time, she would request tea sandwiches, mini sandwiches, and little sweets and pastries. And so that's sort of how the tradition came about. So somewhere
Amazing.
between 2 and 4 p.m. is
Good for her, because that's the best. It's really the best thing. Now we've heard the term afternoon tea, and we've heard high tea. Is there a difference?
Yes, actually a big misconception. It's often referred to as high tea, but high tea actually refers to a meal that's had later in the day around 4 and 5 p.m., which is actually a heartier, more savory meal. And afternoon tea is actually what we're seeing here.
I see.
So the dainty finger sandwiches, scones, and the sweets.
And that's the best part. So I love how it's served on this tier, and that is traditionally how it's served, correct? And so you, again, as you said, you will start with you have the savory down below. So give us an example of some of the of what we're seeing down here.
Right. So this is our signature tea. So this one here comes with cucumber mint tea sandwiches. We have a few different varieties of open faced. We have a smoked salmon, a prosciutto. You have your baby quiche here. You can also get our classic tea, which has egg salad. We have a couple of different varieties.
Right, so
Yeah.
it gives people a nice choice.
So, and then after you'd finish your savories, you'd move on to your second tier, which is everybody's favorite, scones.
Yeah, love them, and they're just a nice little size, and of course the clotted cream, which is interesting because explain the concept of having cream and the jelly or the jam.
Yeah, it goes back, actually, we use Devonshire cream here, clotted cream, and the tradition is, it's just a traditional pairing that
There's something very special about it, isn't there?
It is, and it's very rich, and it's got a little sweetness to it. So
I can't imagine doing this every day, but I would love to do this every day. Problem is by the time I get to the top tier, this has become more than an afternoon quick little snack that I tend to not want to have my dinner. So
right,
this would because then you get to the top and we have some beautiful array of little cookies and treats.
yeah, and that's the whole part of it. It's you're meant to take your time and really savor this. It's meant to be had over a couple of hours.
Right, and pretend you're sitting with the royal family and having a treat, maybe with the queen, right? I think I'd be too nervous around the queen to have tea, so
Yeah.
I'd probably spill my tea or something. I'm not sure what would happen. So again, it's just a beautiful, as I said, it's a beautiful time. So taking your time and just sitting and being and enjoying the afternoon. Now you've been here in downtown Burlington for almost 3 years now?
That's right. Yeah.
Wonderful. And it's tucked away here on John Street.
Yeah, it's a little hidden gem here.
And again, it gives just people an opportunity. I'm sure you see, I do the tea room hunt with my mom, but I'm sure you see a lot of that mother-daughter and friends.
Yeah, we do actually, and afternoon tea has really made a comeback, and a lot of the younger generation is really getting into it now.
Nice.
Yeah, so we do see a lot of teenagers. We see a lot of moms and daughters come in for afternoon tea together.
Wonderful. Well, I'm going to try my tea, and I appreciate you bringing us into this space. It's so beautiful and relaxing, and I just don't even know where to start. So thank you so much, Ruby. A wonderful spot and a great opportunity to just go and relax in the afternoon instead of the running around that we do all the time in our lives. That's it for now.
Great, thank you.
We'll have more Terra at home after this.
Live color fully at Terra, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Good morning. Well, welcome back to Terra at Home. We're back with Chef Mark today in our kitchen, and we are working with polenta.
Yeah, we're doing something a little bit different with this polenta.
Okay.
We're doing a Napoleon is like a stacked version of something. You can do dessert Napoleons, you can do savory Napoleons, you can do whatever you like.
Okay.
This one here is a Polenta Napoleon. Yeah, so what we're gonna do is I've already made some polenta ahead of time, okay, because polenta does take a fair amount of time. So I did bring down some raw cornmeal, so you can take a look at that, okay. It's a fairly simple recipe. We do large batches, so I'll give you the batch size that we normally do at the restaurant.
Right.
It's 4 liters of water to 1 cup of cornmeal.
Whoa.
Okay?
Okay.
So when I put the recipe on the website, I'll make sure I'll pare it down to more manageable size.
Yeah,
as
people are
opposed
going to
to
have polenta for the next year.
Exactly.
At their house.
And what you do is you boil your stock or your water, whatever you want to do, add a little bit of salt. You stir in your, whisk in your cornmeal very slowly. Okay, make sure there's no chunks, and then you have to cook it for a good 15-20 minutes over very, very low heat. Throw in some butter, throw in your cheese,
And then you get...
and flavoring whatever you want. Now
Right.
this one we put some rosemary into it,
Okay.
and then we set it in a pan.
Okay,
Then
okay.
we cut it into sections. So this is going to be the base, and what we're going to do is we're just going to keep on stacking this all the way up. And that's how you end up with your Napoleon. To go into the Napoleon, we have goat cheese, which is a great cheese to use because it's nice and soft, easily worked with.
We were just having a discussion about our love for goat cheese, so...
Not everybody here
Not
filming
everybody
does,
that's
but
part of our crew likes
likes
goat
goat
cheese.
cheese, but we're going to get them convinced.
Yes, we won't center you out, Bill. But we just love it because it is so versatile, and you can use it with pretty much anything, and it makes everything taste amazing. Especially, I think it tastes fantastic with roasted red peppers.
Oh, it is delicious with
Oh,
roasted red
like
peppers.
if you make a roasted pepper, roasted vegetable salad with goat cheese.
It's fantastic.
Such an
Fantastic.
awesome
We
thing
do
to
a
have.
great salad at the restaurant with grilled vegetables, and then we add goat cheese on top of that.
Oh, you do? So that's
And
what. Oh, okay, I'm
it's
there.
delicious.
I love that.
It's delicious. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw some roasted red peppers that I just chopped in with the goat cheese.
Okay, so you can actually mix them in together.
We're going to mix them all in
Okay.
together. Then I have some roasted garlic. So what we did here is we took some garlic. You take your whole garlic buds, cut the top off, drizzle a little oil, put them in some foil, put them in the oven, and roast them for probably a good hour or so. By the time it softens
so good
up,
like that.
yeah, oh, it's delicious. It sweetens right up. It gets
Yeah.
all the sugars out. We squeeze them out, and then we puree them. So we end up with a nice, soft, pureed garlic. All right, and we'll mix that all in. I'm going to add a touch of pepper to this, a touch of salt.
That would be just good spread on a sandwich too.
Well, that's, you know what? Basically,
essentially
it's
it's kinda what
essentially
you're
the same
doing,
thing.
right?
You're just changing the delivery. It's on polenta
right.
instead of bread. But if you were to do this on bread and then put it in the oven and just let it melt down, yeah.
Oh
Same
my
sort of
goodness.
idea.
Wow, I'm gonna do that.
Now I'm going to use the large ones. So here's our polenta here. And I'm just going to put some of that goat cheese and roasted red peppers onto it.
So is the polenta cool at this point when
It
you're
is
working
cool.
with it? Okay.
Yeah, it is
okay.
it's cold. You need to put it in the fridge, let it cool off at room temperature, and then put it in the fridge. You don't want to put it in the fridge right away because the condensation will make it soggy.
Ah, right.
Okay.
Okay. Yep.
So we'll put that on.
This is interesting. I mean, I've never made polenta at home myself, I have to tell you. I think I'll just come to the restaurant. I like when you do it, so.
It is,
But-
it's a bit of work. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not a difficult item to make. It's just
No.
a bit of,
Yeah.
elbow grease.
Yep. But I mean, I would have never thought to do this, but this is great.
We'll put that one on top. You know what? We'll finish off with a third one, and I'll leave that one aside.
Oh my goodness.
There we go.
I think this would make me very full.
It is a very filling dish because of the size of it.
Yes. Oh my
We're
goodness.
just going to squish that down, and that'll help it hold together. There we
Haha.
go.
Well, the trick
So
is to not
there's
let
your
it fall.
Napoleon there.
Okay.
So what we did, I preheated the oven at about 375 degrees. Okay, now you're gonna have to play with the oven depending on whether it's convection or not. If it's a non-convection, you probably want a little bit higher than that. These are convection ovens that we're using, so
Yes.
we'll keep it at 375, and it's gonna take a good 15 minutes to cook.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, that's
because
not
the
bad.
polenta is a very dense starch.
Right. Yes,
Okay?
absolutely.
So
is.
you need to have it heated all the way through. Plus
Right.
you have all your cheese on there, which is going to kind of insulate that as well.
Sure.
So it's going to take a bit of time
For it to
this
warm
to
all the
warm
way
all the
through,
way
right?
through, especially that center layer there.
Yep.
Start melting the cheese and heat it all the way through.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, with something like this, are you going to maybe pair it with a salad or something like that, something lighter, or is that just on its own kind of?
This one here it's on its own.
Okay.
The other way you could do this is you could do it on the grill if you didn't want to do it in the oven. Okay?
Yes, because you do see grilled polenta, right? Because it is so firm, you can.
Yep, you can do it. Not a problem. I'll show you what happens. So
Okay.
you can, I mean, it's firm when you cut it.
Yeah, look at that.
Okay.
Right.
So if you were to do it on a grill, my suggestion is don't pile it like this. Do them
No.
as individuals. So you can do one like that,
Okay.
one like that, and then just do them as individuals on top of the grill. By the time the polenta grills on this side, all the cheese and everything like that would have heated up, and it'll be a perfect little bite-sized appetizer for you to work with.
That's a nice idea too. Absolutely, you could totally make these bite-sized, right? And
Easily.
and obviously, with you would need to make sure the grill is oiled
You
well.
want it oiled and hot on the one side,
Yeah.
and then take it off of that heat. Okay. So
Okay.
oil that grill. You're gonna put it on indirect heat.
Yep.
Okay, but keep the other ones on high because you do want it to warm, and you do want it to warm all the way through. And it will. Like I
Right,
said,
you don't want
it'll
it
take
just
time.
having grill marks and
That's
not be
right.
warm on the inside.
That's right.
So you need to achieve that. So that's actually a really nice idea. So a lot of times, this time of year, as we're getting into the warmer months, is people want to experiment with, their barbecue. So taking so much of what we do in the kitchen and moving it outside. And you'll see polenta prepared so many different ways. And as you say, there's not a lot of flavor to polenta, so you can add what you need to add
Right.
when
This
you're
one,
making it.
this one has rosemary in there, but you can put the roasted garlic in there
Sure.
if you really want that garlicky flavor. But you can change it up.
Awesome. Okay, well, we're going to put this in the oven, and we'll show you the finished product when we come back.
Live color fully at Terra, where color lives.
I am a truth seeker.
A storyteller.
A dedicated volunteer.
I am a caring neighbor.
A customer's best friend.
And a client advocate.
I am a survivor.
A social media junkie.
A proud father of four and problem solver.
I am the Hamilton Spectator.
I am the Hamilton Spectator.
I am the Hamilton Spectator.
I am.
We are the Hamilton Spectator.
Good morning, welcome back to TERRA at Home. We're back with Chef Mark, and we have our beautiful Polenta Napoleon that you've just made, and it actually looks amazing now that you've taken it out of the oven. It's all
crisped up and browned up the
Yes.
polenta a little bit. It's nice and soft. I mean, the cheese is really softened up as well. And with that heat, what happened is those roasted red pepper, that flavor is going to soak into the cheese as well. So you're
now
gonna
I'm
get
like,
that.
yeah, I think this actually looks amazing to me now. Like, because polenta when it's cold and just kind of sitting there,
It's kind of bland looking.
Yeah, but now that it's been heated up, and as you said, look at the consistency changes too. Like the texture, it's just
Softens
right up. Now the trick is for the server to get this to the table without it falling over, right?
It's not too bad. It's not too bad, but it is a little bit trickier. And then we got a little bit of arugula oil that I do.
Oh.
So we'll just put that on there.
How fun.
And then we have some parsley.
Okay.
We'll garnish it with some parsley. And then what I did is I took the extra that we had and I cut the other polenta into little triangles and put the rest of it on there. So you can see what you could do on a barbecue as well.
Right.
So
I
that's
thought that you
another-
made those all for us, so I almost ate one.
You could do that too.
But yeah, that's a perfect example
Perfect bite
of what
size.
you can do. So
Yep.
as you say, and you can put that directly onto the grill.
Right
But
onto
as
the
you
grill
said-
as long as it's oiled so it
Right.
doesn't stick.
Right, and what a perfect thing. So at a barbecue, people in your backyard, recipe for this, terragreenhouses.com. So you can make this beautiful, I mean, look how, that makes you look like you're a really fancy chef. I mean, you are, but
Thank you.
everybody else at home, we'll just, pretend we made that one up, because that's actually awesome. Looks really, really good.
Good.
So something, again, that you can try this weekend. And again, it's just a nice option in the kitchen. We've talked about different grains and different things we can do. Introduce polenta into your kitchen.
Introduce polenta.
I'll try. Or I'll just go to La Piazza Allegra. Thank you. Have yourself a good weekend.